Welcome to PDQ Live. Oh my gosh, I love that intro.
It's still good.
It's still good.
Good chills every time.
Okay, welcome to the show. We have special guests today. Hi, Shelly. Hi, Lance.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank
Happy
you.
to be here.
All right, maybe let's introduce you guys first before we move on, should we?
We should do that.
Okay. Shelly, what's your title?
Senior Director of Engineering.
Okay, so Shelly's important. Okay.
No, not that important, really.
I mean, a little bit important. And Lance, what's your title?
Software engineering manager.
Also important.
But
So
less
Very.
important, but still important.
no,
Way more important.
way more important. You guys are going to tell us how to do more with our crew, I'm guessing.
That's right.
Something along those lines, yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
We have some engineering leadership here.
Yes,
Wonderful.
we do. And I'm guessing you're going to tell us how things are made here, done.
Absolutely. Lance is going to tell us all
Yeah,
about
most
that.
of it. I think I'll keep a few secrets just in case.
Just in case.
Keep it
Are you
just no
telling us,
cliffhangers.
though, that you listen to the customers and then make the products accordingly?
We try to. That's
What? Okay. So that's going to be a segment. And I think Josh is going to teach us stuff. Are you?
I'm going to show you some stuff that I think is cool.
Okay.
I don't know if you learn anything. I don't know if it's useful, but I think it's cool.
Then I think I'm going to think so as well.
Okay.
What are we doing first?
Alrighty. Here's what we're going to do first.
Okay.
This one is using Connect. And the entire kind of premise of this one is there's not a PowerShell scanner yet, but I want to be able to run PowerShell, get results, and then use Connect to kind of report on that, right?
Okay.
Right. I still want the same kind of effect of it. So the use case here is I've got a bunch of computers. I need to upgrade them to Windows 11, but I don't know if they're compatible or not. So I did as all good people do, and I copied and pasted the script that Microsoft provides to go through and check on it. And then we added in lines like starting down here, starting at like 504 to 513. And all it's doing, right, is it's looking at the output of the script above and then just stuffing it into the registry. Like it's not doing anything fancy. But into this path is like PDQ Connect custom scanners, and the value name is, Win 11 compatible, right? So when you run this on a machine, it sets the registry value to a true or false.
Okay.
Then I went in here and I built a scanner, right? And the scanner is just looking at that same path that I was at before, getting the subkeys. This is just like a shotgun. Like, give me everything that's there. I basically set this scanner up like this so that anything that I dump into there, I can return the value from, right? And then here's what it looks like. So here, then I ran the scanner. And if you look on Kim Wexler, I have the key name here is Win 11 compatible. It's a string and the value is true. So we know that Kim Wexler is able to be upgraded to Windows 11. That's great to know for a single device, but obviously we want to know that for all devices. So now we're going to come in and we're going to build a report. Here's the report that I went to build. I want to return the device host name, the edition, some basic stuff about the device, and then obviously that registry name and value data that we went and looked for, but I don't want all of it. So I slap a little filter down here on the end and say, nope, only if it contains Windows 11 and the value is true. So any machines that can't be upgraded, don't even put my report. And looky there, when you run it, here's my report of all of my machines that can be upgraded to Windows 11. First little neat trick that I thought was fun to kind of get the same effect of a PowerShell scanner in Connect until it gets there. Moving on, we're going to switch gears here.
Okay.
Right? So this one here is maybe you don't have like remote desktop that you can kind of peek on users before you remote into it. Maybe you want to know, is someone on that machine before I remote in and do some work? Here's what this package does. It's another little bit of PowerShell. Uses Windows Forms to grab a screenshot, right? And then it dumps it out to UNC path. So what that ends up actually looking like is I took a screenshot earlier. I ran this. Oh, not there. I got to remember where I put the path. Josh's cool stuff, obviously.
I thought it said Josh is cool, but it's Josh's cool stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm back on board. Go. What? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Continue.
Rude.
I know.
I'm going to redeploy this because
Okay.
I deleted the screenshot when I tested it. So I'm going to redeploy it and then we'll come back and look at it. So make sure that I'm actually doing this in real time. So we'll move on to inventory and show the cool thing here, and then we're going to come back.
Okay.
Okay. So inventory, everybody has a bunch of computers. And over time, what ends up happening, at least in my experience, is local admins get added for a reason to a Windows machine and then never removed.
I'm super nervous because this is my environment here.
This is your environment.
I know. I'm nervous.
This is your environment.
I don't like
so
this.
this report basically shows, hey, I want to see all of, well, there's a spoiler because you can see it. I want to see the computer name, the local group member name, and then the local group, right? And then here's where the magic happens in the filters. Don't show me show me everyone in the group administrators that is not a domain admin, that is not the built-in administrator. And I said, don't show us Vincent, because Vincent is one that we kind of use as a service account. I said, show me all those computers. And well, would you look at that? You've got a random Laps account on Cocoa Pebbles.
Well, that's okay. It's Laps. But
Sure.
Okay.
I'm just saying it's there.
All right. Whew,
I'm
continue.
just saying it's there.
Okay. I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
On Gus Fring, there's Randy Marsh. And on Podcast 2, there's just a random account called Tara. That's a local admin.
Who did that?
I don't know. Who would have done that?
No.
So there's a nifty report there that can show you all that. So let's bounce back over here. Let's see if it did it. Oh, look at that. So I ran the command. It shows a screenshot. And, oh, it's us.
It's us.
So the user on Frosted Flakes is us. So that's a quick way to see if someone's on the computer. Little caveat to that report. The user has to be logged in. Like if no one's logged in, you're just going to get an error. And so if you get an error, you're like, cool, nobody's there. That's kind of your success criteria is a failed deployment.
Okay, I have a question though. Is Vincent or is Gus Fring is Kelly's machine, right? Is that disabled?
Oh
Does it show if
yeah.
it's
The report isn't looking for disabled. It's just the presence of the account there.
I need to know because
So
I need
whether
to go
it's
fix
disabled
that.
or not, that's up to you to go find out.
Okay.
All righty. Those were the fun, neat tricks. Now, if you've been paying attention to the show, the last couple weeks, we've gone over, how to build a resume, how to get a job, all of that. Now we're going to talk about, now you've got your dream job. You're there. How do you grow? How do you learn? What is like growth mindset, even that? And to help us through that, we brought Shelly.
Yes.
So Shelly, talk to us about growth mindset. Talk to us about once you're in a role, talk to us like, what do you need to do? Maybe talk to us about your experience.
Yeah, I'll give you a little bit of background first. I've been in the tech industry for a long time, coming up on probably 20 years now, but I was an individual contributor for about 15 years, started back in VB6, if anybody remembers that from like the dinosaur era, worked in C# for a little while. The growth mindset I've always had is looking to learn as much as humanly possible, looking for any opportunity to like grow my skill set. I was actually asked at one point to become a Salesforce developer. I didn't really know anything about Salesforce at the time, but I took the opportunity. Spoiler alert, I did not stay in Salesforce. I moved back to product engineering, but I was so grateful for that experience there because I got to learn a new tech stack. I got to learn how different teams operate and like different perspectives and different mindsets. So when I went back to product engineering, I could understand and like better work with our RevOps teams and understand like the struggles they go through as well.
Yeah. So it sounds like you didn't love it, but you learned something from it and it helped you grow.
Exactly.
Okay.
So yeah.
First question, I have a question. Growth mindset. Do you think that part of growth mindset is being willing to fail?
Yes, absolutely. I've failed so many times. I don't really want to talk about it that much, but
But isn't it okay to fail?
Yeah,
I failed like
absolutely.
25 times yesterday. I'm not lying. I really did. Ask Josh. He
Yeah.
helped me.
27.
27 times.
Don't you learn from failing then?
Yeah, I think the trick when you do fail is like the first step is to take ownership and accountability for your failure.
Yeah.
Solve the problem, figure out what went wrong and fix it.
Yeah.
And then kind of reflect back on like what you learned from it and what you can do better next time.
Yeah.
I think if you're not failing, you're not learning.
No.
Or you're not learning fast enough. And one thing we have here at PDQ is like a blameless culture. So if something happens, something goes wrong, which it inevitably does, we have our postmortem, we figure out, what went wrong, and we get an action plan of what we can do moving forward to make sure we don't run into those same roadblocks again.
Yeah.
So failing is good because you're learning,
Yeah.
and then failing is also good because you're learning from it.
Yeah. And do you think, let me ask you this, and I'm going to actually bring Josh into this because this is something, honestly, I'm not going to lie. I do this often. When I fail, I will come back to him and I'll go, no, you need to show me how you fixed it because I want to learn. How do you as a leader do that with your team? Or do you do that?
Yeah. And that's part of like the postmortems that we run anytime like something goes wrong. And it doesn't even need to be a postmortem. It could be like simple failures where we just sit down together and we talk through like, hey, where did we go wrong here? And it's not like, where did you go wrong? It's like, where did we go wrong as a team? Because if there's a failure, it's a team failure.
Sure.
Like, and we all work together just to figure out going forward how we don't encounter those same failures and move on with our lives.
Do you find that we mindset helps people handle it better and not get defensive, and you get more ownership that way?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I love about PDQ is like, we don't have egos here. We don't point fingers. There's no defensiveness. We're honestly all just like trying to solve the same problem.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I do too.
Good.
What made you get into leadership specifically, right? Because
Yeah.
like in engineering, I feel like you have like, this is like an overly simplistic view, but you have like 2 tracks, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone joins engineering and then they're like, I'm a developer. And then at some point in your career, they're like, do you want to do leadership? Do you want to be a senior IC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you, Shelly? Tell us.
Let me dive into that. So I was an individual contributor for a big chunk of my career, and that's because I wanted to learn everything I could learn before like trying out a new challenge. I moved into a tech lead position, which isn't necessarily like a leadership role. You're kind of like leading the technology of a certain like team or product. And the tech lead role is really great because you can pick up on some leadership skills, pick up on some soft skills, and decide if that's the track you want to go down, or you can just say, no, this is not for me, and go back to like...
Kind of the like try before you buy.
Yeah, it was a trial run, before 14-day trial.
Well, and you keep saying soft skills. Do you think that soft skills are present often in engineering or not present? What's your take on that?
It's a good balance. We have like really great engineers here that have really great soft skills, love to interact with people. Then we also have some that want to just be in their caves and just code and do their thing all day. For me, that's why I like the tech lead role, is like, that's where you can really like explore and determine like, do I have the soft skills? Is this something fulfilling for me? Because as a leader, you're kind of like finding your success through other people. And I loved it. Like, I loved working with people. I loved taking like my experience and helping other people learn and grow. And so I continued down the path of leadership, and I haven't looked back yet. I get to work with like great people like Lance and the rest of the engineering department here at PDQ. And it's really fulfilling for me to like see the successes of my work through the people that I work with.
Okay, Lance, are we sure she's an engineer? Do we check? Should check real quick, because I'm not really sure.
I've done a full LinkedIn review.
Okay,
and we're
Background
good.
check.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I just want to make sure. Awesome.
That's like awesome, Shelly. Thank you so much. I think one thing you talked about, very specifically, is like this blameless culture and like what that promotes within. And I think, Lance, you see this like often as like at that ground level, especially as we're building products. I think one thing that you said yesterday that really stuck with me was that, PDQ, we're not like hiring engineers, we're hiring problem solvers that use code as a tool to solve problems.
Absolutely. It's really a big deal for us to make sure we're hiring people that are going to solve problems rather than just coming, as Shelly mentioned, right? I think there's an industry, like a cliche or a stereotype, where people believe that engineers just want to be in a dark room with the lights off, with a computer out and a keyboard, and just solving a problem, right? Writing code, right? And that's not true. Half of my team very extroverted. They want to chat. They want to collaborate.
Yeah.
That's one of the things we look for, is collaborative problem solving in our day-to-day work. At PDQ, what that looks like is we come into the day, we talk in our stand-up meetings, we get aligned on what we're going to do, and then the engineers will often peel off and be found in Discord or other places working on problems rather than just turning off all external communication. It's something I think we've grown in quite a bit the past few years. About 5 years ago-ish, when COVID happened, PDQ went from being an all-in-office kind of experience to fully remote. And so now we have developers all across the nation, United States. We have developers in Europe, Romania. We have a good concentration there as well. And so being just in person all the time doesn't work. So we use tools like Slack and Discord and such so that we can collaborate and make sure that we're able to solve the right kinds of problems.
Yeah.
The engineers, they're not driven by things like, sales numbers and such. It's not, they know they're important, but it's not what really they gravitate to.
Yeah.
They're far more interested in things like, hey, am I solving a real problem for a customer? Am I using cool tech to do so? And are people using my stuff? And so day to day, when we look at what we're going to do, we look at the value we're going to deliver. Maybe a buzzword alert here. For PDQ, we try to be a product-driven culture and a value-centric culture, which means we want to make sure we are looking carefully at what the customers need and then solving those problems.
Yeah. Well, sorry.
I was gonna say, so talk to me like what that looks like on a day-to-day basis, because like a lot of sysadmins don't like the interaction with engineering is limited, right?
Yep.
Like they're parallel cultures, but oftentimes they're very separated. Sometimes there's not even like in a lot of companies where you'll find sysadmins, there's not a single engineer.
Yeah, that
So,
is.
like talk to us like what that looks like on a day-to-day basis, and what problems do you run into, and what problems are you excited to solve, and maybe like what are we running into at PDQ? Like kind of that behind the curtain look of like, we actually have problems too. And like, this is what we're struggling and trying to solve.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, when it comes to like the problems we're trying to solve and what we're trying to do, it can be pretty different than maybe what a lot of people experience. Like that IT versus developer mindset is something that gets confused often. I've been called often to be my family's IT person. I've worked at companies where, making a SaaS product, for example, is not the end goal. And so you're just kind of bundled with IT, but they're really quite distinct. IT is obviously all about your networking system and helping the business do their day-to-day job, whereas software engineering is about building something. Can be almost more similar to like construction or some other fields rather than like pure technical in that you're helping businesses run. Here at PDQ, we have a full suite of products, and I'm going to be able to speak most specifically about PDQ Connect. I've spent most of my time here working on Connect, and Connect is a very unique problem space to work in as an engineer. It's very rewarding, but also very challenging. At a number of places in my career, I've had the opportunity to work on line of business applications that help support the business to do whatever they're trying to do. That can be an interesting space because you're able to write code, solve problems, do cool things like that. PDQ Connect is quite a bit different from that, for example. You get to still write code, solve problems, do those things, but then you have to do so at scale. We're not expecting just 20, 30, 40 users at a time to be using PDQ Connect. We're expecting a lot more users to be using it. On top of that, we're looking at hundreds of thousands of devices concurrently connected to our Connect servers.
Before you talk about scalability, I don't want you to miss this golden opportunity to take this Lance as a service. You need to coin that immediately, Lance.
Can I
Trademark that.
patent that or trademark
Please
that?
do it immediately. You have to have that. Come on. That's priceless.
It's going to be a great side business opportunity.
Immediately, Lance. Okay, so scalability, are we having growing pains? Are we growing too quickly? What's going on there?
I think the best way to explain this would be to make an analogy. PDQ Connect is like a child, okay? Maybe a couple years ago when we started building Connect, it was like a baby. Its responsibilities, its needs were quite a bit lower. As parents, we could take care of it, parents being the engineers, and pretty straightforward. Build the thing, make it work, teach it the basics, right? Over the past about 6 months, PDQ Connect has grown into that adolescent stage, right? Becoming a teenager, it wants to drive, it wants to do other things, it has more responsibilities, it's entering high school. And as parents, I don't know if any of you have had teenagers as kids. I have 2 of them, well, 3 now. It's a lot more responsibility, but it's different than when it was young. And and Connect is entering that stage. We're getting a lot more devices on it, and we're seeing some rough times, some more complications. As any parent, it'd be like a learning opportunity, and that's the experience we're having. We're growing, we're changing our processes, we're updating things.
Which is great. It's a great problem to have.
It's exactly what you expect.
I don't want to talk on your behalf, but I'm going to because I'm me. I imagine you want to hear as much customer feedback as possible during this time because you want to fix the stuff that might be misbehaving, as you just said. Is that accurate?
That is very accurate.
Okay.
There's a few ways we go about that. So how we're structured is we have delivery teams, and these are cross-functional teams where we'll have engineers, engineering managers, product managers, quality assurance, designers, QA, bunch of people gathering together to solve a problem. Our product managers play a key role in that they spend a lot of their time representing the customers, interviewing the customers, doing surveys, learning from the customers what is needed to make Connect awesome and bring it to the next step. They bring that to the engineering team. We discuss the solutions, and then we get to work building the thing. That's one aspect. The other aspect is you'll find a number of our engineers quite often in Discord, collaborating with our end users and our customers, learning about them, the culture, and what problems they see, and hopefully being able to respond to problems as they come.
So they want to know, is Lance as a service following a Discord chat? And how does Sergio do all the work, you guys? I mean, he is busy.
Yeah, Sergio's incredible. Definitely one of the, I'd say he has
don't
talent
give him that. You know what he
for
told me this
getting on
morning?
Josh's case, and it's awesome.
Do you know what he told me this morning?
It's awesome.
He sends me a Slack DM this morning that says, he reads the title of the webcast and goes, who actually cares what you think, or who wants to know what you have to say? And I was like,
Typical Sergio. Yeah.
thanks, Sergio.
No, I
Love
feel
you.
bad for making fun of you. I'm sorry.
No, you don't. It's all right.
That's right. I don't really.
Sergio, I deserve it. I deserve it.
Okay, so anyway, really, how do you most like to hear from customers? Let's pretend like they're shy, because some people don't like to join one-on-one conversations with developers because they're scary. How do you really want feedback? What's the best way?
I will give you Lance's personal phone number.
Yes,
and you
give
can
it
just
to
Yeah,
me.
you can just
Hold
send
on.
me a
Let
text.
me write that down.
What is it?
Actually, I prefer robocalls and such.
Yes.
Subscribe to a service and just call me until I finally
Immediately.
answer. That always works. But no, in all seriousness, there's a number of ways you can get feedback to us. Discord's a great place. Jump on our Discord servers, send us some information. Love to hear from it. Schedule an appointment with our product managers. Submit, feedback through our emails. I believe
In the channels on Discord?
Place.
You want them in the product channels, or where do you want them to talk to you?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Just
Anyway.
whatever gets set
Yeah.
up there. But do join us. And then support at pdq.com if you have any questions whatsoever. Get that feedback to us that way as well. Doesn't require much, in-person human interaction. So just kind of depends.
Okay.
Those options are
and
available.
I do want to say, to your guys' credit, there have been so many times where I've seen things in Discord. I'm like, hey, X customer says XYZ. And Shelly and we've had these conversations. She's like, I want to hear all about that. Let's do it. And then I swear to you, the next Connect thing, I'm like, there's that thing we were talking about. So you guys really do listen.
We do.
Truthfully.
Yeah.
A lot. So please continue telling them your stuff.
Absolutely.
Lance, Shelly, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate that. I think we're going to move to our next segment, which is What the Tech. What the Tech is where we kind of talk about what's happened this last week in the tech world. So I pulled a couple articles. Please feel free to jump in to have an opinion. These are just they range from everything. So join us. This first one I thought was really interesting.
Oh, yes, I saw this one. I like
Not
the name.
only, so there's a new multi-platform ransomware as a service operation happening. It's called Van Helsing.
Mhm.
Basically, the operators of this, what they've done is they built this ransomware command and control and encryption method, and then they're running almost like an affiliate service.
Mhm.
So you don't even have to know how to write or do any of this. You pay this group $5,000. They give you control of their platform to go target whoever you want. And then their finder's fee from that on is they take 20% of whatever ransom that you gather. So it's this double escrow crypto is how you get paid, and they broker the whole thing. So this just makes running a ransomware group as easy as a $5,000 check.
Yeah.
Nice.
I also thought this was Rob Zombie when I first saw the picture.
Well,
Totally is.
I did love the picture, but I thought this was wild that at this point, you don't even it's just so easy,
You just
right?
rent
So
it
if
out.
I combine,
Rent a ransomware.
rent a ransomware and combine that with generative AI
Yeah.
for a really targeted spearfish, the barrier to entry to being able to launch a fairly sophisticated attack is just it's the bare minimum at this point.
Yeah.
So I thought this was cool. I think what this means to me is that it's not going to get any better,
No.
right? The level of ransomware attacks and phishing attacks and cyber attacks is only going to go higher.
Yeah.
Speaking of, NVIDIA also announced their DGX Spark and DGX Station personal AI. So these are all of their AI chips and computers that were typically at the data center. And Rachel just pressed her YubiKey in chat. I'm going to call it out
I
live.
saw it.
That's a cool YubiKey post.
Also, Lance, now you're handsomeware. Lance, you're getting all the names.
I thought this was cool. So I'm not typically an NVIDIA fanboy, but this was cool.
Okay.
So these chips, which are typically at the data center only, are now like at your desk, right? So this compiled with, now I can run generative AI. I'm just gonna try.
Rachel did it again. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I
Wow.
have to watch that.
Thanks, Rachel. Like I'm trying to build this thing, and you're just like keep a key
It's just-
over and over.
It's fine. She's not over
but-
security. It's fine.
You could run like your own wow, I really just lost my train of
You
thought.
did, yeah.
You could run your own generative AI on your box locally and not have to have somebody else's.
Bogdan was all about this.
Yeah,
Remember, that's
these
the
are
only
cool.
safe way to do it
Yeah,
locally.
these are cool.
Perfect. I love it. Let's get one.
'Kay.
Let's get one. Can you buy one? Do you have any left in your budget? Did you buy the go-kart?
They're still not cheap, but we're thinking about buying a go-kart, yes.
Should we get this or the go-kart? Which one is worth it?
I don't know.
Go-kart.
Go-kart.
Yeah.
Go-kart.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's this next one. This is just general tech. If you haven't noticed, 23andMe was huge. You'd send in all kinds of very personal data.
Yeah. Yeah.
They filed for bankruptcy.
They did?
Heard about this
Yeah.
one.
Why they
It's a
filed for
little bit
bankruptcy?
terrifying.
Yeah, I don't know, because they were like Silicon Valley's like poster child of profitable. They filed for bankruptcy, and so now there's this open question of what's going to happen with all of that data. That wasn't.
Well, they're
just
going to...
like,
Can I say... Oh, I can't say Kelly will yell at me, but you know what I'm going to say.
I do.
Okay.
I do.
I'm not going to say it.
But yeah, it's like what. So this article is one to actually go find. The article's premise is how to actually go delete your data before who knows what happens to it, right?
It's already...
So this was a PSA.
It's being matched up with
All right.
something else that
Have
I
you
can't
guys
say.
done 23andMe?
I have not done it.
Me
No.
either. So we're safe.
We're safe.
Good.
Safe.
Good. We're safe. But if anybody in the chat has, this last one, I'm going to preface before we go to these articles.
Okay. Let's see.
I'm not trying to take a political spin or anything on this. These are about the subject only. Okay.
I know what you're going to think, though.
There's two of them.
Okay. What
The
is
two
it?
of them is one, Starlink Wi-Fi in the White House.
You already know what I'm going to say, Josh.
Okay. Generally. And the second one is the signal fiasco that's going on, right? What I'm just like curious, like from like a thought leadership, we have engineers here, we have IT here. Like what is this? Like, and what does it mean going forward? Because in many cases, like sometimes corporate PII is more protected than what seems to be going on right now.
Sometimes or all the time. No, Kelly, mute my mic. Mute my mic. I can't.
But I think it's a fun kind of thought exercise to go through as operators of like, yeah, this is happening on the big giant scale at the White House. Like it's big and it's public, but how much of this is actually happening in your organization? Right? Take this. This is a big headline national news. Now shrink it down and bring it home. How much of this is actually happening in your organization at work? How many people are bringing in like unfettered tech
None.
that you don't know about?
None.
How much like SaaS is there that you don't know about? How many communication channels are happening that you don't know about?
Well, we already had this conversation yesterday when I came up to your area and Austin explained what a skiff really is, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Horrifying. And I had said to you on numerous occasions in the past that I'd be one of the people in the federal agencies that are being shuttered, that I'd be arrested. You know, I'd be arrested immediately. Immediately.
Sure. And like, I think it's fine. Like, I want to like avoid the whole political part of it and just bring this home as like, this is happening on a national stage. Yes. Mm-hmm. But from like an operator perspective of you're in an organization
mm-hmm.
and you have this thing happening. And what does that actually mean for you?
If it was me in a private organization, none, because I'm a massive control freak and I would flip out because I'm a nutbag. Well, first of all, if I knew about it, none.
That's the thing is you don't know about it, right? You don't know about it until you have an event.
Yeah. If I knew about it, none, and I would freak out and lose my mind.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
Cool.
Would I know about it? That's another question. I don't know.
That's another question.
Networking, I'm not great at, but I'd have a really good network administrator that would tell me, and then I'd freak out.
Maybe.
That's my answer. Would I freak out?
Yeah,
know
you would
I'd
definitely
freak
freak
out.
out. You would
know
definitely
I'd freak out.
Alrighty. That was my take on This Week in Tech. That's kind of the stuff that's up and going on.
You bring it up at the end and let me freak out, and I don't even get to continue my freak out?
Oh, yeah, that was intentional.
Oh, you're so mean.
That was intentional. That was the only way that this was going to happen. All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Lance, Shelly, thanks for joining us, coming down here, letting us torture you. We'll see you, everybody, next week. For PDQ, I'm Josh.
I'm Tara.
Thank you for joining our webcast today. Do us a couple of favors if you wouldn't mind. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Join us on Discord because that's where the party really happens. And do us one more favor. Have a fantastic week. We'll see you back here next time. Bye-bye.